Hi there. Prior to us accounting for the day, I'd like to talk about the harmony of life and this one book that I read once upon a time called Systemantics. So, during the weekend, I listened to the Weekend's album, right? Irony, excuse the pun. And yeah, one thing that stood out to me was the last track, I guess, which was somewhat a monologue where this guy basically talked about the harmony of life. And to paraphrase what he said was, were you fighting against life, or did you follow the harmony of life, or something along that line? And that really resonated with me. It really resonated because at the end of the day, one thing is for sure, life, I guess, is its own thing. We struggle against it. There's friction. It brings us joy. It brings us sadness. There's a whole lot going on. So I've been thinking about it, right? Especially when assessing my emotions, assessing my thoughts, and just aiming to view life from an objective point, or let's just say from an objective stance. I look, right? And sometimes I wonder, why am I fighting so hard? Especially when it comes down to, per se, the logicality of the situation and noticing that sometimes it's better to let go, Just don't do it. But then internally, the emotions are somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, you know what? It's true. Emotions travel faster than thoughts. And I've discovered they weigh a lot more than thoughts. So that's one of the reasons why I prefer to pause sometimes and take things slow. So that's what's up in terms of the harmony of life and me taking a different approach and understanding that, okay, what it is that I'm doing is not so comfortable, but at the same time, there's a difference between putting in effort and working hard and just trying hard. There's a very fine line of differentiating between the two. And one thing's for sure, yes, working hard, I'll definitely do that. I will be diligent. I will master my sense of discipline. I will be accountable. But trying hard is a different story, especially when I know that the friction is internal. Something is not right. Something is not adding up. So the question is, what is it? And yeah, on a day-to-day, I figure that out. Hence, we're here. Which brings me to Systemantics, right? And life pretty much harmonizing or being of harmony, because we're social animals. I've noticed that, society, systems are a thing. And one of the rules or principles of systems is that it's always best to build it on a downhill. And in all honesty, downhill's minimal friction, definitely a lot of harmony. And I've been thinking about it with approaching my exercises and everything in life. It's just aiming to find those key moments, regardless of how I feel, that are downhills for the best. Because obviously, let's just say I'm feeling frustrated and there's definitely a downhill into, per se, aiming to be sedated, right? Whether I'm out here, you know what I'm saying, with that feeling, that feeling that hits the heart. Or, just out here on YouTube ingesting content or whatever nonsense your boy can find. I noticed that, why not take that emotion, right? Obviously learn from it and acknowledge what it is. First things first, account for it, and then use it towards a different direction. Yeah, which I guess is a new science to me. And I guess this is where, per se, sexual transmutation comes into play, And understanding your boy's sense of energy and how to transform all of that which is a whole different topic that I can't even get into this video because I haven't really thought it out, fleshed it out. But that's one of those things that popped into mind in terms of work. Because I was like, you see, yesterday I set myself out to install Linux. But now I figured out that my laptop does not work. The best thing that I could do is to get a keyboard next week. Yes. And then progress into Linux and setting up the right environment. Because the right environment will create far less friction in terms of how slow my laptop is. And yeah, in terms of actually like developing properly. Because I've been in sandboxes, you know, which are basically learning environments, instead of just doing it on my iPad. But at the same time, Free Code Camp hasn't really showed me that. And understanding the necessity of the Odin project is like, okay, cool. Let me just refresh my knowledge. Yes. But also apply what it is that I'm learning as best as I can in the current environment that I have, which is not so ideal, but we're getting there slowly but surely. At least we're building the projects. We're getting some sort of understanding of how to implement the knowledge that we have. And I noticed today I just blazed through Ajax and APIs, even though it was about 8 exercises I was left with, and I took about an hour and 50 minutes. Yes, I timed it because I have to be accountable with my time and my level of frustration. And at least I managed to balance that out. So I'm really glad about that. Because just 2 days ago, we talked about me balancing out my sense of frustration, which I feel like is coming to a new horizon of lessons, which is, okay, now I'm getting to a point in time where I need to expand my capacity of work. Because let's just say after doing the Free Code Camps, API, and Ajax lesson, I was burnt out. So when it came to the Odin project, it was pretty simple because at least, you know, it wasn't too hectic in terms of learning and mental capacity. But I could feel it. Hey, man, I've done this before, but why is this grinding me? Why am I not well? Took a jog with my sister, then boom, blah. Okay, cool. I'm feeling a bit better. Obviously, you know, life has social situations that also grind away at your boy, but we're not here to talk about that. So that was me, you know, acknowledging that, yo, getting in tune with the harmony of life is probably not the most delightful of things, but, you know, you work towards it, you feel the pain, you build up capacity, you build that muscle up, you know, in order to take more, in order to do more. And right now, as I'm dealing with my frustration, I've noticed that now it's time to open up my capacity and understanding the different workloads that I deal with and the taxations that I feel. And then understanding how to just position them properly. And knowing that sometimes certain levels of friction are not worth it because it just retards the whole flow of what it is that we're doing, what it is that we're aiming to get at, which I've noticed is actually broader than just building projects or just learning. There's quite a number of stuff that I need to focus on, from the Odin project, Free Code Camp, and my personal projects and freelancing. And it's all tied in, but then it's like, yo, everything should have its time and its place, dealt with different amounts of frequency. Because at the end of the day, I've understood that it's all one thing. So yeah, that's me just harmonizing and building a system. I won't say that my system is set right now, but definitely by the end of the month, it will be set, which will be A, doing work during the day, B, learning later on. But now that I can't do work without a lot of friction, it's going to be B, learning, right? In order to become a full stack developer, so that A, when it is that I work, I'll be working as a full stack developer, not just as a front end developer, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my chat in terms of what it is that I did for today. Pretty much. and the harmony of life. Well, let me just say the harmony of my life and the systems. I'll talk about Systemantics on a different day fully. It's an amazing book. Check it out. And with that being said, thank you for watching.